जय जय राम श्री राम जय राम 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 जय जय राम ओम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम 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 श्री राम जय
Hari Om, eh?
It's muted, it seems.
Muted.
Now?
Yeah, okay.
No audio coming.
Hari Om.
Okay, okay.
Now it is okay.
Hari
Yes,
Om,
okay.
Hari Om.
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Om.
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram.
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Om. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Om. 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 Hari Om to everybody.
Hari Om, Swamiji.
Where are we now?
Chapter 1.
Chapter 1.
Eh?
Chapter 1.
Chapter 1 of what?
To God.
In quest of God.
Before entering into chapter number 1, some observations were made on the first article. What were they?
Vanishing forms.
Vanishing forms.
Vanishing forms. First one was not vanishing form.
Subtle and mysterious.
Ah,
Knowledge is subtle, mysterious power.
Subtle and mysterious power.
because this is the one which gives us a concrete idea about or a concept about the word Ram, which stands for the indwelling and all-pervading reality. So this is very, 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 very essential that we try to apply our mind. It's only merely a word, subtle and mysterious power. Unless we dive deep within, it will not be easy for us to understand even those words. The power that makes me to talk now. The power that activates all our sense organs. The power that makes us to think, to analyze, to know, to memorize.
Birthless and deathless.
Birthless and deathless.
Yeah, birthless and deathless. That also we have to apply more and more, because mere words, they are all mere words. But the same words will carry the profound truth only when it is contemplated deeply. Papa has given some clues. First he said, it was in 1920 that Ram first kindled in the heart of his humble slave a keen desire to realize his infinite love. So the first and foremost thing is, his grace should be there. Scaling the spiritual heights is not possible by one's own self-effort. The first says, Ram kindled in the heart of Ramdas. So that means, we have to pay. Kindly touch and kindle, please. The mind goes here and there. Mata Amritanandamayi Amma, she used to say in a casual way, tell everything to God. No matter who causes you grief, take your complaint to the puja room, family shrine, where your real friend is. In addition to your husband or wife, you should have a friend, and that friend should be God. Even if your husband or wife makes you unhappy, tell that to God and not to anyone else. If your neighbor picks a fight with you, go to the puja room and complain. And what is our complaint? Why did you let him treat me like that? Were not you with me? Why did you keep mum? Open your heart and tell God everything. Then it becomes a satsang. When someone makes you happy, tell God about that too. Forgetting God in times of happiness and remembering Him only in times of sorrow is not a sign of true devotion. We should be able to see that He gives us both happiness and sorrow. So that means, we must remember. So even to kindle in our heart the desire to know Him, to feel His presence, we need His grace. Otherwise the mind will run riot. So Papa, in the first sentence of his first book, before the first chapter starts, cautions us. What is needed is a prayer from the bottom of the heart to touch and kindle in you, to awaken you a keen desire to realize His infinite love. And then comes to strive and to approach, to understand Ram is to recede from the world of vanishing forms, because Ram is the only truth, the only reality. And Ram is a subtle and mysterious power. When we are watching the serial or a news, we are only seeing different scenes, different, but we cannot see the screen. Though it is everything is happening on the screen, we are unable to see the screen in the midst of all these changes, things. We all know that without the screen, the changing, what do you call that? Scenes or, scenes. The changing scenes are happening on a changeless screen. So Papa here says, even while seeing the scene, which is not possible for us to see the unchanging screen, that is why he said, recede from the world of vanishing forms. Because Ram is the only reality, he is the only substratum. At the moment we are unable to feel him, to see him, to observe him, because we are fully guided by the vanishing forms. When we sit before the TV, we can understand that. Now, even when we are talking to you, all of you are there, in small, what do you call, pigeonholes. But we hardly forget, we hardly recognize that the laptop is the base, The screen of the laptop is the base upon which all these things are superimposed. So to know that, I have to switch off. When I switch off everything, what comes before me is the plain screen. So here he says, to strive to approach and understand Ram is to recede from the world of vanishing forms, because Ram is the only truth, the only reality. Ram is a subtle and mysterious power that pervades and sustains the whole universe. Birthless and deathless he see. Because anyone that is born has to die. Since it is the base, birth cannot take place, because the concept of birth has come only because he is there first, The concept of birth and death comes to us because we are there first. Consciousness absolute is there. So each word we have to apply our mind deeply, especially the first article. So we covered, first one is grace, second one is, if we see the vanishing forms, we will not be able to see the substratum. So we have to recede from the vanishing forms to know the base. And that base is the subtle and mysterious power. It pervades and sustains the whole universe. And he is deathless, birthless, deathless. Yes, and then
Unity and love.
Unity and love. Consciousness of unity.
Consciousness of unity, the common denominator, the presence of a common factor, That is called love. We get a new definition for love, absence of otherness. What we now term as love is not love. We will not say it is not love, it is not the real love. The real love is absence of otherness. So the real love can come only when we don't see ourselves separate from others, the highest level. So we must be moving towards that. So the very word love, we should be able to dwell deeper and deeper and deeper. When we love our child, we don't find any separation. No? When the child is happy, we are happy. When the child is not happy, we are not happy. Our always mind is on the child. Even if we are working in the kitchen or elsewhere, part of the mind is always on the child. That means the separation is not there. No? So God is teaching us the fundamentals of real love, first through a love towards our own kith and kin. It may be conditional. It may not be the same relationship after some years, agreed. But we are given some idea. That is not the real love. Real love is the consciousness of unity. We are conscious of the common factor in. Intellectually, we may be able to understand. But in actuality, so this is another point on which Papa wants us to dwell deep. And then
self-assertion as a separate individual existence.
Feel as separate. To realize this great truth, we who through ignorance feel as separate individuals should submit ourselves to the will and working of the infinite power, the infinite love Ram, who is one and all pervading. Because everything causes from this separateness, It is an uphill task. So the only way is to submit to His will. It means what? We as separate individuals cannot exist by ourselves. Not even for a fraction of a second we can exist by ourselves. By bringing this, probably we may be able to slowly raise ourselves above the sense of separateness. I can do this, I will do this, I have done this. Unknowingly we say all these things, based upon what our puny intellect advises us. At that time we feel we are omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscient. But here Papa gently says to the will and working of the Ram. Only by feeling the subservience to the higher power alone will make us know that as separate individuals we cannot exist by ourselves. The subtle and mysterious power in the form of varied manifestation is necessary for us to exist. We are also a form of the manifestation, but this manifestation is interlinked, intertwined, interdependent with the rest of the creation. Look here, we are in the first article. He is giving up the quintessence of the entire spirituality in this first article. That means the ideal is becoming made clear to us, clearer and clearer to us. So that we pursue in quest of God. In quest of that we start. Because when we leave for a particular destination, we should have some idea about the destination to be reached. We would not have visited previously, but we have enough evidence, guidance from people who have visited that place, and based upon that we form a concept, we do the preparation and do that. So the first article is such a preparation. The ideal is becoming clearer and clearer and clearer before we step into the first chapter. Because the entire 37th chapter is meant for this quest. Starting with unrest, ending with serenity, First chapter starts with total unrest, stress, tension, insecurity, anxiety. Can add any more, That is the first chapter, first line. And the last chapter, last line says serenity, calmness. Yes. Then, anything else in the first?
From confusion to clarity.
From confusion to clarity.
From confusion to?
Clarity.
Quite right.
Clarity.
Correct. So we have to read, reread, contemplate. O Ram, the truth, the love, the goal of human perfection, all hail, that.
Swamiji,
Ah.
it also means from doubt to understanding.
Certainty.
Certainty. Yes.
From Vishada Yoga to Moksha Sannyasa Yoga.
Correct. Vishada Yoga to Moksha Prapti Yoga. Papa says in one of his articles, we need to make God real to ourselves in our daily lives. God is our constant companion. We should talk with God, we should talk to God, we should walk with God, we should talk to God, we should seek His advice, His guidance at every step, at every round of life. As it is, the one disease that is increasing all over the world is the disease of loneliness. Why? Because we have cut ourselves off from God. All we need to do is close our eyes, shut out the world and call Him with the longing in the heart, and here He is in front of us. This life is a rare opportunity for attaining true, real, ever-existent bliss and peace. Therefore, go within yourself in a resolute spirit of adventure and discover the immortal source of your being. then come out with a new vision and become a great force for the uplift of humanity around you. Set fire to the camphor of your soul and convert your life into a flame of divine effulgence, offering and sacrifice, in the end to sublimate into your eternal essence. That's what we find in the first article. The camphor of our soul. Set fire to the camphor of our soul. Then,
Hatredness means diversity.
Hatred, consciousness of diversity.
Yes? Consciousness of diversity ceases. Diversity means separateness. No? In this condition, hatred means consciousness of diversity ceases and love, consciousness of unity, is realized. So whenever we feel any hatred or something towards anybody, immediately we are asked to think. The absence of otherness is not there, that is why we find. It's easy, but very difficult to agree, because we have not practiced it so far. But still we have to keep on trying. And then by humbling ourselves, subduing our self-assertion as a separate individual existence. Having reached this stage, we, by the awakened consciousness of unity, are naturally prompted to sacrifice all the interests that concern the body for the welfare of our fellow men and fellow creatures who are all manifestations of the same Ram. This was the great sacrifice of Buddha, of Jesus, and has been of Mahatma Gandhi in our own times. These three great men are the fullest manifestations of Ram, the great truth, the infinite love, Om Shri Ram. So that is how he ends this. Probably after a couple of days again when we go through, he may touch and kindle some more dimensions. So let us keep up the tempo, okay? And from there we move to the first chapter. We have been reading this chapter quite a long time. Immediately ask yourself, what is it that this chapter stands before you? Why it stands before you? What is it that you remember from this chapter? Even before opening that book, we have done many a times, reading. We are trying to understand whether Papa has been gracious enough to introduce us to the theme contained in each and every chapter. We are not worried about the words he used. No doubt the words have got their own influence. But ultimately the theme. So what is the first impression we get for the first chapter?
Restlessness.
restlessness. Because the title itself says struggle, no? It starts with struggle, restlessness. Yes, then.
Everything is our own. Everything is our own making. Mind.
Our own
Our
making.
mind is the cause. Mind is the cause, Swamiji.
Mind is the?
Mind is the cause.
Mind is the
Cause.
cause for everything.
Quite right. Same incident cannot touch us, it can touch us. So that means what? Mind is the base.
Yes, yes.
If I become indifferent, positively indifferent, it will not affect. If the moment I take it into consideration, it affects. So God is providing me so many things for me to learn. At the same time, He is also providing so many provoking circumstances to test whether I have real control over my mind. Sifting or sieving, In good old days, whenever we go and buy anything from the shop, we cannot straight away use it. You have to remove small articles of stones, this and that. And then only we do for the cooking or cleaning or grinding. Many of you might know, elderly people, even before we put the rice before into the vessel, we used to do that, pour water and do like this and take the upper one. Finally, you will find this tickling sound of the sand or stone pieces. So this sifting, sieving, sifting, that goes on, struggle. So God makes us to do that. So we don't have to condemn the word mind. Mind has been given to us for a better life, no doubt. But at the same time, the same mind can also create problems. It is the one which puts the label. So mind is not to be blamed, the labeling has to be blamed. We are trying not to put any label. We are not belittling the important, because God has given us the mind, means it is with certain purpose. So only because of the terrible stress, restlessness, anxiety, pain, pain precedes delivery, Mothers know it. So here Papa was made to pass through the severest struggle, because then only the prayer will come from the bottom of the heart. We may have faith, superficial. It may not come from the bottom of the heart. So for that he is pushing us to a corner where we feel totally helpless. Nothing is there to fall back upon. For nearly a year, Ramdas struggled on in a world full of chaos, anxieties, pains. It was a period of terrible stress and restlessness, all of his own making. In this utterly helpless condition full of misery, Where is relief? Where is rest? This was the heart's cry of Ramdas. We are all finding it difficult because that restlessness has not come to us. We are all comfortable, you know. We say that we are not comfortable, but we are 100% in the comfort zones. That is why we suggest to people that once in 2 or 3 months, please visit school for the physically, mentally handicapped, school for the blind, school for the deaf and dumb, groups of spine injured people who are unable to sit up and see, people who are in orphanages, in destitute homes. Then immediately we will come to know what all we have been blessed with. At the moment, we are all leading a comfortable life, but still, none of us are aware of the comforts which God has given us. In Papa's case, at that particular time, God made him to feel totally helpless. Because a little bit of comfort is there, our prayer will not come from the bottom of the heart. So that is the point Papa wants us to think deeply. When will we be able to that this was the heart's cry of Ramdas. So our problem is we don't have the heart's cry, you know. We are grateful to him that he has not pushed us to that. So to know that we are blessed with all these things, that itself is a grain.
Swamiji, we are accepting the grace with a callous indifference.
We are accepting the grace?
Repeat, auntie.
We are accepting the grace with a very callous indifference.
With a very callous indifference.
Correct. Correct. We are not conscious. That we will know only when we go to such an institution and see. Here in ashram, 2 mothers have been entrusted with the job to make a round of at least 15 to 20 patients who are in their own home. They are absolutely immobile, critically ill, and so everything has to be given to them. Their parents or brothers or father or we don't know, they have to go for daily work. So naturally they will not be able to be with them throughout. At the same time, this person cannot do anything by themselves. So we thought, the only way is we will provide them with whatever that is necessary. Every month or every 15 days, yes, they will go visit the place, and whatever is possible will be provided to them. And we used to hear, somebody from ashram will also go. The moment the other people see them, people who we have put them, you can see their body language, how happy they are. That means when the love is extended, when the love is expressed in the form of body language as well as physical help, it touches and kindles the same thing in them. They are very happy. Every 15 days they will come and report to us. Even at the time of reporting, we used to watch how happy they are. And then somebody, one day when they came, they were gloomy. I said, he passed away. Very nice person. But this time when we went, we knew he passed away. As if somebody in their family has passed away, That identification comes. So every now and then, suppose we keep visiting, such are the people who are denied by the stroke of fate or by their karmic wrangle, and when God gives us an opportunity to go and extend our love in the form of words, in the form of our body language, in the form of materials, whatever we have read now, the absence of otherness, diversity, so many things, we get some clarity directly. And then we pray, because I don't have any of these things, because you have provided me with everything, I don't pray from the bottom of the heart for your intervention. So please, along with whatever you have given, give me also the strong yearning in my mind to know that you are the great provider, provided to me. Something like that, Because here Papa inserts a small innocent word, all of his own making. That means I have named it as stress, I have named it as anxiety, I have named it as pains. So in a subtle level, Papa is also made aware of it. It is all your own. And then comes the great void, From the great void came the voice, despair not, trust me, thou shalt be free. This word also we have not given enough importance so far, but this in-depth study, made us to think deeply about this word in the great void. God has not only been defined as subtle and mysterious power, but a little more clarity can be had when we think about the great void. It is not void, it is a great void. Anybody would like to share anything? Yeah.
You spoke about talking to God, right? So when we talk to somebody, we see a physical form to use for tree, for idol, whatever. But when we seek His, when we nothing comes. Whom we talk to?
Because we have got a name and form, we always want that some other name and form to come before us to talk to communicate. So initially it might not be possible to commune with the nameless, formless entity. So that is why we are all given, this background from our home. Some deity, some Mahatma. we start, how to practice. The nameless formulas, later on we will come to realize that the nameless formulas has come also in the form of name and form. Just like the screen is plain, but different scenes are coming and going. But without the screen, the different scenes cannot come. So similarly, all the names and forms must have a base of nameless and formless. Intellectually we can understand. Initially, so what we have been asked, bring any deity before you, with whom you are comfortable, or any Mahatma. Idols. Krishna, for example. Ishtadevata. If it is not possible to bring the nameless, formless before us. Even in Papa's case, Lord Krishna was the chosen deity initially. So whenever we glorify that avatar, whenever we chant his name, there is a relationship between him and there is a form there. And then later on, slowly we will graduate where we are comfortable with the form, we are also comfortable with the formless. Not that we are negating it. Every word in Bhagavad Gita stands for me only, Tasmat Sarveshu Kaleshu Mam Anusmara Yudhyacha. Mam Anusmara. You remember me and fight. So remember me means what? How can we say that? The power within me. Okay. Now the nameless, formless aspect is the power with which you are now seeing. That power because of which the eyes see, which the eyes cannot see. That power because of which the entire all sense organs are working now. Seeing, hearing, touching, tasting, smelling. The mind thinks. That power, okay. It is difficult to conceive that power because our mind is not, mind forms a concept only on an object. And here it is not an object, it is a subject. But to begin with, we will keep it as an object. So in the form of a deity or a Mahatma, we bring before and we place all these things and later on slowly we will try. Initially we need some prop. And in certain Bhaktottama's case, they continue to have this throughout their life. The only deity, not that there are so many in them, they were able.
What about the concept of Atmaram? Because I read something about Atmaram.
Concept of Atmaram.
Same. Atmaram means this power, no? Ram stands for the mysterious power. Atma means, the soul. So the Atmaram means, we here also it is Atmaram only. When you say Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, it is not merely the Ayodhya Vasi Ram. It is the Atmaram. The nameless, formless. God is not an entity, it is a power. But until we realize that it is a power, we need a form to represent that fire. Otherwise the mind cannot hold on. So that is why bhakti enters. And bhakti transforms to the other one. So to begin with, we will, nothing wrong in dedicating everything to a form. That is why so many temples, People who are occupied with so many things, it is difficult for them to fix their mind on a nameless, formless reality. So they immediately go to a temple which represents. Actually, we also know that the deity represented in the temple is also unaffected, Nirguna. Though we say it is Saguna, it is Nirguna. It was in the form of a stone or a marble, and the sculptor had conceived this form through a photo, and through dedication he has brought it out, and later on the Tantri after various forms of nishta and rituals, he has superimposed this nameless, formless reality to the name and form, which is called the prana pratishtha ceremony. And then it becomes an object of worship, where you go and try to establish a relationship with the deity, and ultimately the deity will make you feel comfortable with that form and without that form. So initially, to have a form that is more safe, the other one requires terrible effort. Mind will not easily get concentrated. So you can bring anybody into any form that is okay right from your childhood, and later on to go beyond that form. Great void. Anything else?
Swami, one small doubt, Swamiji.
1 minute.
All of its own making, all of its own making. It's a God-given position, isn't it? All of its own making means God doesn't mean actually.
I have named it, no, as tension. I have named it as insecurity, stress, anxiety. Because after some day, after my revealment, after my enlightenment, the same condition does not affect me. Previously, a particular type of condition affected me. Later on, when we graduate, when we get refined, the same condition does not affect me. So now I can say that it was my own making. Yes,
You are speaking about love.
Love.
Wait, 1 minute, somebody is asking here. Please hold on. No.
I am speaking. Please. What is the difference between love and like?
Love and?
Love and like.
Liking and loving.
Suppose they have to love to you. What is the difference between Swami and ordinary man?
Love.
Like means
Like and love are the same.
the same. விருப்பம்னா என்ன?
விருப்பம்?
விருப்பம்னா என்ன? அன்புன்னா என்ன?
விருப்பம் and அன்பு.
See, love in its highest sense is called absence of otherness. நானும் பிரத்தியாருன்னு கிடையாது, அந்த ஸ்டேஜ் வரணும், அதான் ரியல் லவ். விருப்பங்கிறது ஐ லைக் இட், ஐ டோன்ட் லைக் இட். நோ, I like it, I don't like. I like that person, I don't like that person. It is purely from my level. From my level, my body, mind, intellectual level. Love is something beyond that level. Because the moment I come, you are there. So the moment I raise myself away, little higher than me, then you and I we don't find any difference. So that means there won't be any likes or dislikes. Normally we used to say, when you see from here, you can see about say 10 or 15 people, or 10 feet or 20 feet. Somewhere it will be nice place, somewhere it will be, the plastic will be there, dirty things will be there, so many things will be there. But when you go to the terrace, you will find more people, more lovable things. When you go to the mountain top, everything looks very fine. When you see from the aircraft, it looks extremely nice. That means the more we raise ourselves from our present level, these likes and dislikes will not be there. Only we will find positive thing. But when we come down to our level, that means my likes, my dislikes, my preference, my priorities, then the love gets, distorted. Distorted. So spirituality enables us to raise ourselves from our present level to a little higher level, like that. Instead of, suppose you now make a list of your people who are in your love circle. Suppose it is 50 people. After 2 months, you are again making the list. Then you will know whether it is 51 or 49. Then you will find later on, as we keep on progressing, it will become more and more and more and more and more. Anybody whom you see, you is a nice person, what? That is why in good old days, when you go for parivrajaka life, you just simply leave everything and love. You will see everybody is pouring their love. Strangers who have nothing to do with you, who doesn't know you, who don't expect anything from you, they give their love, then you suddenly find, what am I doing, what I have been doing. So these are some of the ways by which we try to expand our love circle. Love circle means seeing less and less of the likes and dislikes, more and more of love and love. விருப்பத்துக்கெல்லாம் மேலே போயிடும், விருப்பு வெறுப்புக்கெல்லாம் மேலே போயிடும். சரியான அன்பு வருது.
When we are in a temple or puja room, of course we tend to think of God in this form or other, like Krishna or Rama. And at most times when we are alone and we have time, we tend to talk to God. We ask God so many things, we talk to Him. That time we don't think of any form. We realize it is God. He is God. He is all powerful.
God.
So the few moments we get when we realize He is formless.
That is why we have been asked to read as often as possible the biographical sketches of Mahatmas, because our mind is should be filled with devotion, subservience to a higher power, love of God. All those things should come to us. Then only we will be able to remove ourselves from the me and mine. Otherwise, my likes and dislikes predominate, and it will deny me to see the bounteous gifts given by Him. Anyhow, those are all the things. Okay, now we were talking about great void. Anybody can throw any more light on this? So the reality has been named as great void also. Not only that it is a subtle and mysterious power, it's a great void, where the container, we can say,
Bahuguna.
Tell us. Yes, tell. Yes, Bahuguna.
I was listening to, I was reading somewhere, ego.
Audio is not proper.
Even in science, audio is not there.
Okay, now it is better.
Even in science, they say they go to particles, then sub-particles, they went to the minutest particles from electrons to sub-electrons and everything, and then when they broke the last particle, it was nothing.
Space.
When we go to in science, science, when you go, particles,
when they look other side,
then sub-particles, then when they go end, nothing will be there.
When you go?
When you go further,
Electron, in the end,
Yeah.
space is there.
Correct.
nothing will be there.
Correct.
They found there is nothing.
Correct.
The atoms, then
You are right.
Yeah.
That is one way of understanding the great void.
atoms to find how each thing is.
Correct.
These things, up to the last particle, and they broke that and they found nothing.
Nothing. But it is there.
How is that particle?
But it is still there. That's why normally we say
Probably the void.
it's a container. Great void is the container, and we have to empty the contents. So the thoughts are the contents. So when the thoughts are emptied, what remains cannot be explained, It is the thought that explains even the container or the contents. When the thought is not there, who is to explain? But at the same time, it is not nothing. Just like what you said. It is not nothing. But at the same time, you can't say it is sad. So it is a great void, it is full and complete, but at the same time not full and complete with what is known. All knowables have been removed. There should be a space where all knowables are there. And suppose when we remove all the knowables from the space, what remains is that great void. Try to.
That is why maybe the saints explained like this: there is a fullness when you are empty.
Yeah. Fullness, yes, correct.
Emptiness
Same.
is fullness.
Emptiness is fullness. Because emptiness of all the knowables leads to the fullness. So the Papa has gone to, even on the first initial stages, you can just imagine, probably later on we found, as we shared with you, in Yoga Vasishta, this word had come. So we were wondering how he was able to bring it at the initial stages itself. So in Yoga Vasishta, sage Vasishta explains to Lord Rama so many things, out of which he brings the word, according to Venkateswarananda Swamiji, who has written the commentaries. We happened to go through that, and then we found the word great void. Because we can't explain beyond that. Just like you said, beyond the molecules. Suppose we start doing this, we find nothing. But at the same time, it is there. We can't say that there is no onion. But if we peel out the onion layer by layer, there won't be anything. But at the same time, if something should be there for the layer to develop, layer will not develop by itself. So this is also a food for thought. Good, great void. So first chapter he gives enough. So that means he wants us to get more and more clarity on the word God, on the word substratum, on the all-inclusive nature of that reality, where everything is accommodated but it doesn't remain affected. It stands unaffected, unmodified, untouched, undefiled, but at the same time everything has got a space in it. So something for all of us to go deep into it. Balance we will take it up tomorrow. Struggle and initiation. So struggle, we have reached up to this great void now. Anyway, the revisit is giving us more and more clarity. Let us hope by the time we go through the chapter, each and every chapter in this fashion, our in-depth study will, to a very great extent, help us to know him more clearly and to move towards him in a faster way. Hari Om. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om.
मेरे पास खुद पैसा नहीं है, ये रखिए। खुद मेरे पास पैसा नहीं है,
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om. Lost. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai 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 Ram. Shri Ram, Jai Ram.